In this video, we're going to talk about how to solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. The equation that we're looking at is x squared plus 5x plus 2 is equal to 0, and over in blue on the right hand side I have the quadratic formula written out. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and that's going to give us our x values for the solutions of our quadratic equation. Now, typically in a problem, I don't expect that you would be given the quadratic formula. That's something that a lot of classes expect you to memorize. So what's written in blue, you would have to come up with that on your own. But there is a popular song you can find on YouTube that'll help you memorize it. So let's go ahead and talk about what a, b, and c are. When you're solving a quadratic equation and you want to use the quadratic formula, you want to be sure that all of your terms are on the one side of the equal sign all together, and that it's equal to 0. Whenever that's the case, you can go ahead and pick out your a, b, and c. Whatever your coefficient is for the x squared term, that's going to be your a. A lot of times that's going to be 1. Whatever the coefficient is on your linear term, or the term with just x, that's going to be the lowercase b. So in this case, it would be 5. And whatever the constant term is, that's going to be our c. So in this case, it's 2. So it's a good idea to go ahead and write down what these are, just to keep them all in one place. Make it easier on yourself. So a is going to be 1, b is going to be equal to 5, and c is going to be equal to 2. So now let's go ahead and plug these values into the quadratic formula. So we have x is equal to negative b, so negative 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared, well that's going to be 5 squared, minus 4 times a, that's 1, times c, that's 2, all over 2 times a, so that's going to be 2 times 1. Now, even though this is technically the right answer, you always need to simplify it so that your answer can match whatever it is you're doing. Or if you put in the answer this way, it's been like some kind of computer program like Alex, it's probably going to say you need to simplify further. So let's go ahead and do that. We always want to simplify under the radical. Go ahead and get that out of the way first. So bring down the negative 5 plus or minus the square root. 5 squared is going to give us 25. 4 times 1 times 2 is going to give us 8. And that's all over 2 times 1, which of course is just 2. So now simplify further under the radical. Negative 5 plus or minus 25 minus 8 is going to give us 17, all over 2. Now at this point you want to see if you can simplify the actual radical term. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's not going to be a perfect square, but you can break it into 2 factors of whatever number is under the radical, one of which is a perfect square, and simplify it that way. For this particular problem, though, we have the square root of 17, and you can't take the square root of that cleanly and get a whole number, and you also can't break 17 into factors, one of which is a perfect square, because the only factors are 1 and 17. So our answer is negative 5 plus the square root of 17 over 2, and negative 5 minus the square root of 17 over 2.